Welcome to Animation One-to-Ones, brought to you by Squiggly Online Animation Magazine. This is Ben Mitchell, Editor-in-Chief here at Squiggly, very happy to be bringing you a chat with the incredible Dutch studio Job, Joris and Marieke, which takes its name from its three founders, Job Roggeveen, Joris Oprins and Marieke Blaauw, who've been responsible for some of the most truly unique, memorable and characterful CG animation projects to come out of the Netherlands. And I love these folks. They're one of those studios where basically everything they do will make you smile. And you may very well have seen their Oscar-nominated short film A Single Life, in which a mysterious 45 is able to influence time, or possibly Mute, in which a silent populace give themselves the power of speech by slicing mouths into their faces, but in a cute way. Other films include Otto, A Double Life, and the Emmy-winning Heads Together, a surreal story about three friends who exchange heads by accident and are forced to adapt to each other's lives, which would go on to be adapted into the 12-episode series Swop. Graduating not as animators but as product designers at the Design Academy Eindhoven, the trio came together with a shared interest in storytelling, and alongside their short films they have an impressive portfolio of commissioned work as well as children's books, installation pieces and music videos, including spots for Happy Camper, Job's musical alter ego. Among their recent work is the ecological short Quota, in which every global citizen is mandated to participate in a program that tracks their CO2 emissions, which of course they ignore until it's all too late. It's a theme very close to the studio's hearts when we go into their ethos and climate awareness a fair bit. If you recall episode 14 of this series, we delved into similar territory with Lauren Orme of the Cardiff Animation Festival and Planet Positive Animation Network. I was very privileged to screen Quota at the most recent Squiggly screening at the Manchester Animation Festival, where it was a huge hit with a very vocal crowd, always nice to see. And the film is in contention for a nomination at the next edition of the Oscars, which would be a lovely thing indeed. You know what else would be lovely? If I shut my mouth and let you hear the actual interview. So, let's hear from Job, Joris, and Marieke.
I'm Job, this is Joris, and this is Marieke. And we met during our studies at the Design Academy more than 20 years ago, I think. So we were studying design, actually. And both of us really loved storytelling. So during our studies, we started making short films, first acting ourselves in these films. And then finally, we found out that being designers, we really like to work in a studio and have total control of everything. Joris graduated with a stop motion film, Marieke, I think, with a live action film, and I with a music video. And finally, we started the studio some years later, and we dived more into 3D animation. But still, the stop motion background is really felt in our work. So
yeah, absolutely.
Just add something to that.
No, that's completely true.
Well, so yeah, I think when we last spoke, the most recent project that you'd done was Otto. And I think it's been about 8 or 9 years since then. You've been, from what I've been able to tell, pretty active. You've done series, you've done lots of other short films and commissions in the meantime. Are you generally... Do you kind of exist primarily on commissioned work and do sort of personal projects in between? Like, because that's how a lot of studios this side of the pond tend to kind of exist.
Yeah, I think we in the Netherlands we have the luxury that there's that you can apply for grants to subsidies to make your films, and sometimes we're lucky, sometimes we're not. But the last few years we were pretty lucky to invest a lot of time in our own projects. So we prefer to do our own projects and do the commissioned work on the side, but sometimes it's the other way around. But we definitely prefer to do our own projects the most. And I think the series you just mentioned, Swop, it was based on our short film, which was called Heads Together in English, Kop Op in Dutch. And we made a series out of that of 12 episodes of 10 minutes. And that was like, for us, that was a huge project, and that was 2 years of work for us. So those are really great opportunities so that we can really invest all our time in our own projects.
Yeah. Something I've noticed, actually, with sort of thinking back at your work, there's a kind of through line theme to do with, I guess, bodies and displacement. Sort of the human body going through various sort of states of transfiguration or mutilation, that kind of thing. I was sort of curious as to where that came from.
Yeah, it's funny that you put it that way. Because I think I can also see some links between our work, but yeah, so sometimes it's about identity. So people swap identity, or people become each other, or sometimes it has to do with some things that are invisible, like Otto was an imaginary friend, and then nobody, the main character, becomes invisible. So it's yeah, I don't know, but it has to do with bodies as well.
I think with our short film Mute, we discovered that you can make it as bloody as you like, as long as it's looking cute. So
sure.
With we have ideas that wouldn't work in live action, because then they would be very disturbing. But cutting yourself a mouth and then sing through it, that works fine in animation. So we really discovered then, and also with Quota, we discovered something that, without spoiling the film, if we would do it like that in live action, it would probably be banned everywhere. And now,
sure.
Now it works, I think.
Yeah, I also think that the ideas often say something about real life. So, for instance, with Swop, like swapping identity, it's interesting for children to watch it and to think about, okay, who would I want to be? And what would a day be like if I had someone else's head? So we really like to have conversations about that.
I'm sort of interested in general in, I guess, sort of how the Netherlands views animation, whether you feel it's kind of a respected medium. I did notice that you've had like an exhibition kind of dedicated to the work that you've done not that long ago.
It's sometimes that people really think that animation is for mainly meant for children, and we beg to differ. So we hope that we can add something to the or that we bring our films, and that people from all different ages like to watch them.
Yeah, but I feel it's funny that you say, because I feel like, from my point of view, it looks like there's more respect for animation in the UK than there is here.
Oh, yeah.
Because, well, you have such a rich tradition, and here the animation tradition is small and it's growing a lot. But in general, the Dutch people are not proud on anything.
We're not very chauvinistic, so it's not like...
It's very Dutch not to be proud to be Dutch.
Yeah, but also not to be proud enough on the culture. Like I went, for instance, once to Clermont-Ferrand, the festival, and there were like rows of people standing in front of cinemas to watch short films, and that's like I was surprised to see that. That I would encourage that more to have that more in the Netherlands.
Yeah, but it's a weird because you don't really feel the love from the Dutch people for animation, but at the same time we have the Dutch Film Fund, which is very important for the whole film industry here. So there's money, so there must be sort of respect for it.
And a lot of people, luckily, came to visit our exhibition, so it wasn't like all Dutch people hate animation.
No, but maybe no. But maybe they're
like it. They don't see it.
Yeah, I think people really loved it and were surprised to see it. That the Dutch studio could bring something like that. So it's also it should be. They have to find out about it in some way.
And I think obviously a huge difference between the Netherlands and UK is we don't really have. Major players like we don't have that much big studios with a lot of people working there. Submarine is one of them, which is quite big, but most of them are quite small studios like ourselves. So it's growing, but it's still not a fully grown animation industry here.
Thinking back to when we met, and that was at the Click Festival. and that's now Kaboom, and I believe that's still going, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Do you have much of an ongoing relationship with them?
Yes, the awards that they give to the best films, we designed it. So
Nice.
that was one of the collaborations, and we always love to see our work there. It's really a great festival.
Yeah, and we know them quite well, and also the distribution of our own films is done by Kaboom. So,
Nice. Okay, so they've kind of expanded into that side of things as well.
Yeah, they have a distribution service.
That's nice. Is that specifically for films from the Netherlands, or is it international? Or?
I don't know. I think she mainly does the Dutch films, but I don't know if it's exclusive. It's a good question.
Yeah, no, I'd like to check out Kaboom. It'd be nice to head over there sometime.
Yeah, you should definitely do it.
Your latest film is Quota. A really lovely piece of work, really funny, very much in keeping with, the sort of established house style, but also kind of unique, I think. It's, I think, quite timely. Like, I think it's very time appropriate. And it puts me in mind of some conversations that I've been having with other animation studios. But I'll circle back to that. I guess to begin with, how did it come about as a project?
We are as individuals or as private persons, we are very much involved with the climate, and also demonstrations for climate change and everything. So it's really something that's a big part of our private life, but we never really find a way how to do it with the studio.
So we this is a subject that's important to us, but we felt like making having it as a subject for a film would only lead to an explanation or something very preachy that nobody wants to see. So it was in the back of our head, but it never materialized because we thought it's just not going to be a film that we want to make. And then suddenly Job had a very funny idea that made it all possible, because then it turned into something funny and gruesome and had a whole different, I don't know the word, sort of tone and mood than the preachy film that we thought it would become.
It can be in this way both that it's confronting to see it, but it's also you have to laugh at the same time. So someone wrote about it that you're laughing all the way during the film, and then in the end you find out that the joke is on you, and that's a way we like to tell stories. So it's not just creating a film about this subject, but also having a hilarious experience.
Yeah, we felt it could only work if it wouldn't be too preachy, and to make sure that it's very fast and very dark and funny.
But it still sort of happened, the idea, because we were talking about the subject, just like, about how you can measure your ecological footprint. And then you said something like, well, you use then you measure this with some tools online, and then they say, oh, you're using 2 Earths for your lifestyle, and then you said something like, it should be limited.
Yeah,
you should not be able to exceed the amount. And then we thought, oh, but what if that was true?
Yeah, and like it's always easy if people are like what Marieke was saying about the carbon footprint. If you're talking about it, and you if you would really understand or think about what are the consequences of needing 2 Earth. We don't have 2 Earth, 2 Earths. Hard to pronounce it. Sorry. So. But so it's really thinking further on the idea of what are the consequences of this information, and we wanted to put that in an absurd film. So
Yeah, like as I mentioned, then like it's something that I'm seeing a bit more of here in the UK. Few animation studios and organizations and events kind of making a concerted effort to lower carbon footprint. And I think episode 14 of this particular podcast strand, we talked to Lauren from the Cardiff Animation Festival, and she's put together some great resources on that as well, just worth shouting out about in case people listening missed that one. And yeah, it's good to sort of see, I think, that there's conversations happening, and I think this is a great way to kind of introduce people to the concepts. And like I say, it gets your attention. I think its meaning is very clear, but it didn't strike me as preachy. Like it's entertaining sort of above all else. So, I'm happy to be able to share it with the Manchester folks this week.
Great. Thanks.
As far as like your own practice, I guess, and this was something we kind of got into with Lauren a bit, are there things that you kind of implement in how you make your work, and how you run the studio, as far as curbing your own emissions, that sort of thing?
Well, the main thing is that we basically don't fly. We haven't flown for 9 years or something.
Yeah, something
So
like that.
that's very. A lot of festivals invite us, and then we have to. If we can't reach it by train, then we don't go. Also, we weren't at the premiere at the TIFF festival, which obviously is a pity not to be able to be there, but it's also a strong gesture to make a film about this and then don't show up. So that's something we do, and I think with all especially with commissioned work, we always really think about which kind of brands we would work for and which we won't work for.
So you didn't get to go to Toronto. You mentioned also that potentially Oscar consideration or long list consideration has it qualified? Was that because of TIFF?
No, it's qualified through theatrical run.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're going to be sort of pushing it that way, but you can't like travel with it. So do you have a kind of campaign in mind as far as like?
Yeah, we're working on our socials, and we're sending it to a lot of people we know since we were there in 2015. So that's our way to promote the film and trying to get it on websites.
Everybody's attention.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, it's kind of a black box how to campaign properly for the short list. We try what we can, but it's nobody really knows what works. We 9 years ago, 10 years ago, with A Single Life, we didn't do anything, and then we were nominated. So now we think doing nothing is best, but I don't know. That really works.
Wow.
We hope still the main thing is still the power of your short film, which leads you to hopefully a short list.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I wish you the best of luck with it, and at the very least, that it gets more circulation, more people get to see it because it's a lot of fun. Are there other projects that you have on the go at the moment, or recent sort of like project highlights you'd like to kind of shout out about?
We're working at the moment on a short film, a 14-minute short film, but that's we can't share anything about the story yet, but that's what the studio is busy with.
I think next summer we'll probably finish that one. So but we can't really tell that much about it. No. Too bad.
We've all kind of projects we're working on, but it's still for the future to come. We also created a new children's book. We really like to make those kind of things.
That's the main things.
Yeah.
Are you still doing Happy Camper?
Yeah, also. Yeah. There's a new record almost finished, and we're going to do a tour next year. So that's still also part of what we're doing. Yeah.
So sort of recap that for people. So that's your sort of music output, but it sort of goes hand in hand quite a bit. There's a lot of visual stuff that the studio has done for it, isn't there?
Yeah. We started it's also 14 years ago when we started the project, and it was it started with a lot of different singers, and so there was not one singer. So we created a Yeti as a frontman of the project, and since then we always did the visual style of the music, and I always compose the music of our films. So and the soundtracks of our films always have an influence on the Happy Camper music. So it's well connected.
Well, fantastic. Thanks so much for catching up, and I wish you all the best of luck with Quota and its journey ahead.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Thank you to Job Roggeveen, Joris Oprins, and Marieke Blaauw. Great to catch up with them. And if you're listening to this episode right as it comes out, as most of you tend to do, according to our metrics, you can catch the film on the Kiss Kiss Keep It Short YouTube channel. Alas, only in the States. VPN. Otherwise, keep your eyes on their website, jobjorisandmarieke.nl, their Instagram at jobjorisandmarieke, and facebook.com/jobjorisandmarieke. And that's N-E-N, not and. Just clarifying, I have a cold, can you tell? And I mumble at the best of times. As always, you can find us at Squiggly Animation on Instagram, at Squiggly on X, facebook.com/Squiggly Magazine, and we're on Blue Sky, squiggly.bsky.social. Of course, the website is squiggly.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to Squiggly's animation podcasts on the platform of your preference, so as not to miss an episode. We have another episode of the regular podcast coming out later this week, talking holiday specials. It's going to be very festive indeed, so keep a lookout. Until then, I've been Ben Mitchell. Have a wonderful week and happy animating.